Romeo and Juliet is a 1996 American romantic drama film adaptation of William Shakespeare. It was directed by Baz Luhrmann. The film stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes in the leading roles. William Shakespeare was born in Stratford on 1564. He is recognized as one of the greatest writers of all time, known for works like Hamlet, Much Ado About Nothing, Romeo and Juliet, Othello, and many other works. With 154 poems and 37 plays of Shakespeare's literary career, his works are among the most quoted in literature. Shakespeare created comedies, histories, tragedies, and poetry. Shakespeare died in Stratford on April 23, 1616. Years ago there lived in the city of Verona in Italy two noble families, the Montagues and Capulets. Unfortunately, there existed much bad blood between them. Romeo, son of old Montague, is a handsome young man. He fancies he's in love with Rosalind, who disdains his love. As a result, Romeo is depressed. To cure him of his love, his friend Benvolio induces him to attend a masked ball at the Capulets, where he could encounter other beauties and forget Rosalind. At the ball, Romeo is attracted by a girl, Juliet, daughter of the Capulets. They seal their love with a kiss. Juliet discovers Romeo's identity from a servant. Meanwhile, the fiery Tybalt, Juliet's cousin, recognizes Romeo and challenges him. That night, Romeo lingers in Capulet's garden, standing in the orchard beneath Juliet's balcony. He sees Juliet leaning over the railing, hears her calling out his name, and wishes that he were not a Montague. Next morning, Juliet sends her nurse to make final arrangements for the wedding to be performed at the seal of Friar Lawrence. The friar, who is a confessor to both the houses, feels that this union between a Montague and a Capulet will dissolve the enmity between the two houses. Meanwhile, Tybalt has been seeking Romeo to avenge the latter's intrusion at the ball. He encounters Romeo returning from Friar Lawrence's seal. Romeo, softened by his newfound love and his marriage to Juliet, refuses to be drawn into a quarrel with Tybalt, now his kinsman by marriage. Mercutio grapples with Tybalt and is slain. Aroused to fury by the death of his friend, Romeo fights with Tybalt and kills him and takes shelter in the friar's seal. The prince, on hearing of the trouble, banishes Romeo. The friar advises Romeo to spend the night with Juliet and then flee to Mantua. Meantime, Juliet's parents, believing her grief to be due to her cousin Tybalt's death, seek to alleviate her distress by planning her immediate marriage to Paris, a kinsman of the prince. Desperate, Juliet seeks Friar Lawrence's advice. He gives her a sleeping potion, which for a time will cause her to appear dead. The friar's letter fails to reach Romeo. When he hears of Juliet's death through Baldassare, Romeo procures a deadly poison and secretly returns to Verona to say his last farewell to his deceased wife and die by her side. Then, at Juliet's side, Romeo drinks the poison and dies. When Juliet awakens from her deep sleep, she realizes Romeo's error and kills herself with his dagger. The Capulets and Montague decide to reconcile as a result of the death of their children. The film is an abridged modernization of Shakespeare's play. While it retains the original Shakespearean dialogue, the Montagues and the Capulets are represented as warring mafia empires, and the suits are replaced with guns. Some of the characters' names are also changed. Lord and Lady Montague and Lord and Lady Capulet are given first names, as opposed to the Shakespeare original, where their first names are never mentioned. There is also no Friar John, who was in the original play. Romeo and Juliet has always been the most watched and carried out Shakespearean drama of all. It was transposed several times at the cinema, up to the postmodern version of Baz Luhrmann. Attracted by the narrative influence of Shakespeare drama, the director has proposed a new version, an original adaptation, a striking interpretation. Romeo and Juliet is not a simple adaptation of the story, but an exact translation of the text of the tragedy Romeo and Juliet. Baz Luhrmann had the necessary courage and talent to give a new and modern face to the most famous love story. The two hostile families, the Montaghi and the Capulets, exhibit the symbols of Catholic religion in excessive and showy way, from the shirts which portray the face and body of Jesus Christ to representation of the Lady on the Guns. On the other hand, the religious fanaticism has always been cause of hate, such as shows the work of Shakespeare and obviously the film of Luhrmann. This affects the public, since the spectator despises in first person the heads of family, the Montaghi and Capulets, and their hate cause of death of the two young protagonists of the film and consequently of their love story. Only a few people are able to escape from the delight of the story of Romeo and Juliet. Luhrmann decides to make them known to a costume party, and the scene that sees them together is a gem of the cinema. The meeting between the young lovers to the party of the Capulets coincides with the moment of greatest success of the film. It is in fact an aquarium to make them known, an aquarium that refers their joyful, childlike, and naive looks, immediately attracted to each other. The scene, without any dialogue but emphasized from the song Kissing You by Desiree, announces the allegoric force of the water in the film. The water presents itself, especially as something that produces love, then as element that separates the two lovers, the pool of the Capulets' home which replaces the wonderful balcony of the original version. At the end, as misfortune sign, when Romeo, to escape from Juliet's room, he had to dive in the pool. In spite of a modern setting, Baz Luhrmann has preferred using original dialogues in his film. It is an interesting but even complex choice to realize. It's difficult to imagine to young people in the age of television, SMS pronounce phrases like, "If I profane with my shameful hand, it's a kind sin." Yet Baz Luhrmann is succeeded. The dialogues could have seemed paradoxical, out of context. Instead, you don't notice any detachment with the setting. The director wants the public to realize that it is following a told story on a stage, in this particular case, the television. Those words have a flavor of fable and contribute to ravish the spectator. They come out flowing from the lips of two lovers, natural, as if those feelings couldn't express in any other way if not with that unusual language. The merit even goes to the two protagonists of the story. We could not have wished better interpretation than those given us by Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio. Both are able to excite with a look. Romeo and Juliet is a film that overwhelms and excites from the start to the end. The spectator, in fact, suffers every moment together with the two young.